Okay, so welcome everyone. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm Nicola. I'm a physio and specialized in sports and spinal physio when I was just my first sort of 10 years of physio, and then went much more into women's health. So my real passion is women's health, also stress management. I teach mindfulness and breath work, and I teach a course for women called Feminine Wisdom. Some of the ladies on this call are on that course. I love it. It's a very special course to me, and I love teaching it. And women seem to really enjoy it. And this is my aunt Ellen, who has been such a sort of earth mother to me as well over my life, and we've always been very close, and we share a love of many things, including bees. They've got quite a few beehives in their garden, and we have a beehive, and Ellen's and Ellen has done beautiful kahuna massages and things, and grows wonderful vegetables and fruit trees, and she puppy walks. So whenever we have other guide dog raisers, she'll tell you a little bit about her. So she's always been helpful for us when we're trying to train our dogs. I'll let Ellen introduce herself, but it's the first class that we're teaching together, and it's just a basic entry class, but we're going to be talking more specifically about animals because that's Ellen's her area of real knowledge and passion, where mine is a lot around women's health and things like that. So Ellen, do you want to?
Yeah, good morning everybody, and thanks Nikki for having me around here, and we can have this conversation. Nikki's given you half of my resume already. So, I grew up in a home that was very much, growing your own vegetables, having fruit trees, the natural way of doing things. I can remember when my kids were small, and the one time my mum was visiting, and I actually put some Maggie Fondue on these scrambled eggs, and she nearly had a heart attack on the spot. So I was brainwashed right the way through my life about that there is a natural way, that there is a better way, that we need to actually take care of ourselves, which was, I give great thanks to my late mum for that. She molded me very strongly. I have her in my genes and in my hands. I have always been an earth mother. I do pottery, kahuna massage, which is energy massage, Hawaiian style massage, which I adore. I also do breath work. And now I'm joining Nikki in the team with the doTERRA oils, which was in the beginning sort of thinking that, I'm not a physio, I'm not a women's health specialist, I don't have young kids. There are a lot of things that people do with oils that are their speciality, and I wasn't quite sure where I fitted in. Until I heard about Dr. Janet Roark, who's a vet in America, who offers a certification course. So there's my puppy having an opinion on using essential oils for vets. She also is a doTERRA consultant. She's a firm believer in the purity of doTERRA and using only doTERRA on animals because of the known purity and none of the problems that comes with using doctored and adulterated oils. So when I realized I could do oils and dogs and animals, that was, ticked all my happy boxes. And from then it's just been a hop, skip and a jump forward. And it's been amazing what I've learned, and everything about essential oils for humans, you can sort of translate that into the dogs as well. But we'll talk more about that as we go through, but that's very, very much part of my passion. So I just want to say as well that we will be giving you my email address and telephone number. So if any of you have specific questions that you'd like answered about your animals, I'm more than welcome to take consultations with that and take it from there.
Thanks to everyone just hopping on now, and welcome, and please feel free to ask questions. And this isn't just about pets and animals. This is just a basic entry, and as Ellen says, everything that applies to oils for humans can apply to oils for dogs too, and we'll talk about that as we go. So just to dive right in, I'm going to share my screen, and we'll just go through some slides. So let's get rolling. So what is an essential oil? An essential oil is an oil that is harvested or distilled from a part of a plant. Not every plant can be used for essential oils, but the plants with healing properties definitely can. And we can source from leaves, from fruit, from the flower, from the stem, from the roots, from all different parts of the plant. Ellen touched briefly on why doTERRA. doTERRA have a phrase that says pursue what's pure, and they really practice this in the purity of the oils, the purity of business practice, the purity of how they deal with their growers and distillers, and the purity of how they deal with their wellness advocates and their clients. But the purity we're talking about today is actually the purity of the oil. And we take this very seriously because the essential oil industry is very aligned to the perfume industry, and the perfume industry has been known to want to create different perfumes, fragrances, and so they can add synthetic fragrances, they can add carrier oil to make it go further. And beyond that, we also really have to look at how how oils are sourced, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. But doTERRA has put in a number of things in place, including Source to You. Source to You is a website you can go onto, and you'll see at the underneath every single bottle, I'm not sure if you can see this one, but there's a little yellow number and an expiry date. And I can type in this yellow number and see the batch that this tea tree came from, where it was sourced in the world, and what the exact results were of its purity testing. And so I know that just in this,
and its chemical composition.
Yeah, and its chemical composition. So I know that this is just tea tree. It doesn't have anything added. It doesn't have anything taken away. There's no traces of fertilizers or pesticides from farming methods. There's no carrier oil. There's nothing diluting it, making it go further. So I find out, and it comes from the place in the world where it grows with highest therapeutic factor. So like we've got lovely lavender growing here in our garden. It's lovely, but it's never the same therapeutic effect as the lavender grown in France and in Bulgaria. So doTERRA then partners in their co-impact sourcing with farmers and growers and distillers all over the world, and they source from wherever the plants grow naturally, indigenously, and with the highest therapeutic value. They also only harvest at the time of the year that the plant has the highest therapeutic value. So they really have to work with supporting those farmers because they don't want them trying to harvest the tea tree all year round. And so they have to work, and they work very much with different payment plans. They help them with debt relief. They help give bonuses for quality and things like that. So they support deeply in the communities that they work with. They build wells and boreholes. They build schools. The frankincense farmers are very isolated in Somaliland and Oman. They've just built a wonderful clinic for them. So I could spend the whole hour talking just on that co-impact sourcing, but we're not going to do that. We think about it as buying local globally, because you're supporting small communities all over the world and doing business how it should be done with respect and responsibility to the communities. And then they have their Healing Hands initiative, which is a fantastic, they work a lot, sort of their NGO part of the business, and they work a lot with sex trafficking, helping with Underground Railroad. They work very closely with breaking sex trafficking rings and then rehabilitating women, giving them jobs, giving them, and children, giving them lives back. So that's at the base of that. And we look at the synthetic properties. There's no synthetic properties at all. These are just pure oils, just pure plant-based, and then highly therapeutic. And the purity really does matter because I hope you don't mind me mentioning one of the ladies on this call. Yeah, I saw her this morning, Janet, and she was saying, in desperation, she quickly dashed to Dis-Chem and got some lavender. And she just said, you actually just realize then that the purity does matter because it just wasn't even vaguely the same effect as the pure lavender. So how do these oils work, and why are they so effective? When we all have a cell, we all have cell membranes around every single cell, and that's an oily cell membrane. And plants have this too. And the cell membranes are to keep parasites, viruses, bacteria, any invaders out, and to keep the cell contents in. So to keep the cell safe and protected. That's our gateway. And we're using the properties of the plant's immune system, the oily cell membrane, to support our immune systems. Our immune systems work beautifully, but sometimes they're lacking in certain things, and that's from how we've lived our lives, what we put in on our bodies. And sometimes they also just need a little bit of a nudge to get us back to full health and to be working well. And this is what plants, the essential oils, do. So we source the oily membranes of the plants, and we use them to support our own immune system. Now, when we have a virus sits inside the cell membrane. So as we have heard a lot about viruses in the last 18 months, and antibiotics are not effective against viruses because antibiotics are generally a water-based medicine. You have a powder, add water, shake it up and take it like that, or tablets, which are powder and water-based. And so they cannot actually permeate into the cell membrane because this oily cell membrane keeps it out. If you have bacteria, it sits outside the cell membrane. So that's where, when you develop a secondary bacterial infection, your GP will say, okay, the antibiotics will really help. But for a primary viral infection, I say it's, it's not effective, and it comes with severe side effects because, as we know, the antibiotics have effects on our gut, on the good, and because they kill all bacteria, good and bad bacteria, or the helpful bacteria of our gut as well. So it's quite a high risk for a low reward if it's a virus. So essential oils, we don't have to know if it's a virus, a bacteria, or even a parasite. We use very similar oils for them, and they permeate directly into the cell membrane, and they're very, very effective. So the same oils, we can use the same oils for multiple things, which makes it very cost effective. So an example is an ear infection. I actually gave someone here yesterday, someone doing my course, her little boy has had recurrent ear infections, and she's had to go back many times. In fact, she had to leave the course early just for a checkup with the ENT. She's had to go many times last year because he had such terrible ear issues.
And antibiotics.
Yeah, and antibiotics. So the cost of time off work, the cost of then going for the treatment, the specialist opinion, and something as simple as lavender and tea tree, which we have in our kits, works incredibly well at helping to relieve the infection and soothe the ear, because these have got antiviral and soothing properties. And then we use our flume roller, which we'll talk about, that we make up. We use that up and down the spine to boost the immune system. And we actually are really helping to support the immune system and fight the virus and help with the pain and inflammation. And often, and we've had this a number of times with people who start using the oils for their kids' ear infections, by the next day, they're not even sore anymore, let alone having to go and see specialists. And the specialist is the next step. If we're needing to still, they're always there. But at least we've got tools in our homes that we can access at 9 o'clock at night and really start to support the immune system from 9 o'clock at night, not just waiting till the next day where we're actually getting medication that almost suppresses it. It just is sort of dealing with the symptoms more than boosting the immune system. So it can be very cost effective. Well, it is very cost effective because these same oils, lavender and tea tree, we'll be talking a lot about. They're great for burns, they're great for stress, they're great for anything from cold sores to athlete's foot and sunburn and all sorts of things. So the oils all have many uses. And most of this we've talked about on the slide, the sourcing, where we source directly with farmers, sustainably, with fair trade, where they grow indigenously, testing. So the Aromatic Plant Research Center is based in the US. It does testing on oils. doTERRA's oils are tested 54 times. 43 tests are done in-house and 11 are done externally by the Aromatic Plant Research Center. So they've got full transparency of their testing. The Aromatic Plant Research Center on their front page of their website say that 80 to 90% of the oils that they test are actually adulterated in some way. So there's no FDA or governing body governing oils. There's no one checking that what it says on the bottle is in the bottle. So anyone can say 100% natural, 100% lavender, 100% pure, and no one's actually testing. It's the same as the cannabis and CBD industry. So you really have to trust your supplier. And then purpose. It's a very purpose-based, heart-based company. I went over to the US to their convention in 2019 because I realized I'm a health professional, I'm a physiotherapist talking about oils, and I can't in a year or two's time say, actually, this company wasn't what I expected. It's not as ethical, it's not as sustainable. There's a lot of hype and no. And I was blown away by the ethics, the sustainability, the purity, the care. And I just came back feeling like this is how business should be done. And then the thing that's exciting to me is that the oils have many partnerships with medical collaborations. So it's not either or, we can have both and. The doTERRA oils are the only oils used by Johns Hopkins University for their research because of their purity. And then you know that your testing is reliable because you know what's in the bottle. Otherwise, you just have no idea the results because you don't know what you're actually testing. Used in hospitals. An example is recently there's a St. Elizabeth Healthcare in Mississippi. They've just opened a huge oncology ward and oncology center. And the second floor is the Doterra Integrative Health Center. They have essential oils helping to empower people as they're on their oncology journey and receiving treatment at this oncology center. They're using oils to support themselves for their skin issues that come up, the itchy skin, the sleep, the stress, and then they're also taught healthy eating. They're taught a mindfulness, Tai Chi, yoga. So it's wonderful to start to see these collaborations coming in more and more. So I've talked quite a lot about that, and please, again, just interrupt at any time if you've got any questions or put something in the chat, and then Ellen's going to talk us through this.
So for me, the most exciting part about using the oils is the wisdom of the plants. And Nikki said that we harvest, through the oils, their healing qualities. And one of my favorite things that I learned about vegetable growing is that the leaves you should be eating are the ones that the bugs have been eating, because as soon as the bugs start eating the leaves, the plant automatically releases powerful chemicals to actually protect the plant. And when we eat that leaf, then we get the same protection from the leaf. So there's a lot to do with it. But the ways to use the oils, let me stick to the script and not get too drawn out on my chatting, is aromatically, so diffusing or inhaling. I did hear a chat by one of the doTERRA founders who said that there is quite a lot of talk about the use of the oils internally, which I'll chat about just now. But she says aromatically, you also have to be careful about the purity of the oils. I mean, if you think about this, the power of the sense of smell and how many memories it can bring up for you when you walk past somebody who's wearing the same aftershave that your grandfather used to wear, and the memories that it actually then brings up for you. But that happens because the oils come through the nose and hit the olfactory nerve, and that is like a cell membrane away from the brain. It's so connected. So even aromatically, even through a diffuser or just the hands, a drop on the hands and breathing it in. I'm going to have some lavender right now. So just a drop of lavender or peppermint, or whatever your need is at the time. The lavender is gorgeous. And inhale it. Your hands, you can put it on neat there. You don't need to dilute it so much. And it does instantly go into the brain and make your entire limbic system believe that you're fine. So, and the thing with lavender as well, with my dogs, and to just have a quick chat about the pets, when I diffuse lavender in my bedroom, none of my dogs follow me around. I go and find they're all in their beds in the bedroom. Because they just say, well, this is a good chilled place for us to sleep. And they really do love the diffuser. Is it a good time to talk about the safety of it as well with animals or not?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of talk about what you shouldn't diffuse. I'm sure you've seen the horror messages on YouTube about, what you shouldn't be using essential oils if you've got pets. I think the number one thing is not to overwhelm them with it, not to make it too strong. With the thing with pets is to dilute. Start off with a very low dosage of everything, and then watch your dogs and see how they actually, watch your animals, see how they behave. But the most important is to make sure that the door is open, that if you are diffusing, that they can escape if it's too much for them. A huge part of my learning has been about actually listening to your animals and allowing them to choose which oils they want. And a little bit goes a long way, and particularly with animals.
Anna agrees.
Anna agrees with me. So aromatically is a great way to do it.
And just, Ellen, when you say getting them to choose, is it just holding up a smell and getting them to smell?
No, that's actually too strong for them.
Okay.
So this bottle has been opened. So can you be my dog?
Yes.
So you can actually just put it close to them, and their sense of smell is so strong that a closed bottle is enough for them to say, and they will either then have another smell, see if it works for them, see if they like it, or they will say, whoa, what was that? Let's not use that one.
Interesting.
So you can very much allow the pets, so you can choose the oils that you think might be right for them, and then offer them 2 or 3 oils and see which ones they respond to the most. And they'll tell you yes or no very strongly. Monica, who's on the talk, when I did her talk, I did a consult with her, and Ash, I did know the name. was so sweet with the way she responded to the oils and which ones she was absolutely not going to play with at all. So it was
really
fun.
you
Yeah,
could see it straight away.
very, very strongly. Yeah.
Okay, and that brings up, the oils have a very strong intuitive element as well. So animals are obviously very connected to their intuition. They just smell and know what they want and don't want. And with our oils, there are many options often that we give people for using things, and there are many oils that do very similar things in different ways. And so it's empowering for us to also know that it's not like you're getting it wrong. If you smell it and feel what feels right for you, that's also a very powerful and empowering way of using our oils. Trust.
Right, so topically we can use this as well. Some of the oils, and we have got lists of which oils are safe to be used undiluted, but otherwise dilute. Again, I think when you're first starting with a new oil, dilute more than you think you need to, and rather put the oil on more often than try and sort of take a teaspoon of it and say, well, that's my medicine for the day. It doesn't work quite like that. Topically, there's so many ways to do it topically, and both with children we use under the feet, and
get my rollers to show.
Yes, we can use it under the feet for children, which is great because then they get the benefits of it, and it's all the reflexology points, all the meridian points come down to the feet, so it actually soaks up into the body very quickly, even through the feet. And interestingly, with animals you can do the same, particularly with dogs on the back feet, between the pads, that sort of little in-betweeny creases on the dog's feet. All their reflexology points are there as well. All their meridians come down to their back feet. So if you want to add anything to the oils, I then would put it on a pump, not so much on a roller for animals, because they're not always the most hygienic creatures around. But if you have the mix in a pump little bottle, and then just put it on your hands. Sometimes they'll try and lick it off your hands if it's one that they really like.
Yeah, a little spray bottle.
A little spray bottle. So under their feet, with dogs and cats, you can put it on the tips of their ears. With children, up and down the spine, and with dogs, up and down the spine as well. So we lift the hair and sort of get a little bit onto the spine. It works very, very well to get it on that way.
Yeah, so I carry around rollers with me in a little vinyl bag. These are all pre-diluted with fractionated coconut oil, which we give to you, coconut oil with the fat taken out. And so it's a quick and easy and accessible way of using it. And I'm not sure if Ellen mentioned it, but like sometimes our little dog gets a bit car sick, and I've only got my human rollers, and I'll then put it on my hand and then stroke his ears or down his spine, and it works really well for him as well.
Yeah.
So these are the same ones that I use for our kids and for me.
And on that, the two that are recommended for if a dog gets car sick is Zengest and lavender.
Yeah, so we'll be going into all the oils in a moment. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so internally, these oils are pure. They are safe to be taken internally. They're not all relevant to be taken internally. You do need to check up that it is, but it's mostly the oils that are foodie kind of oils, edible oils. That's a good word. That you can take. Again, start small, start low dose, and see how it goes. Sometimes a drop in a glass might be too strong, but then put it into a water bottle or into a jug, and take it that way. And listen to your body. Use your wisdom, use your intuition as to what's correct for you. If you're not sure, then ask somebody. But it's very safe.
And that's part of what our journey is to teach, to hold your hands and guide you through this step by step. You're never on your own in this journey.
All right,
okay,
over to you.
So we do combine oils often. This is just a little example. This is our immune balm for adults. We call it Flute. Frankincense, lemon, oregano, on guard, and tea tree. It's an amazing immune balm. It's our like natural antibiotic, but without the side effects of a true antibiotic. And it also works on viruses. And so we've been dishing this out left, right, and center. It helped. Our family recently had COVID, and it helped us enormously in this time. You can see the dosage for children down below. It's much, much weaker. And dogs would be even more so. But again, the same mixtures support dogs, babies, animals, elderly, adults, pregnancy, baby, horses. So, and one can use it in a roller. So I've got a Flute roller that's sits in my bathroom, and we pre-make it. We actually, when you first get your oils in our wellness consults, we sit and make one of these with you, because when you're starting to feel sick, the last thing you want to do is try and make something new. So we've got it here, and it's very good for reactive healthcare to support you as soon as you get a sore throat or if you're feeling something coming on. So we use it, and it's quick, easy access. But we can also layer those same oils. We apply them one at a time, rub them down the spine with a little bit of coconut oil, and get to inhale and rub on feet, just like Ellen described. And that's a more concentrated way of taking in the oils. So it's a lovely, nurturing, soothing thing to do for ourselves, our partners, our children. But it's sometimes quite takes a bit of time. So the roller is very quick access, the layering is slower. And then, as Ellen said, we can take oils internally. We can mix up. We'll talk about the oils as we go. I hadn't mixed up and used this immune bomb until again COVID time, and it was a great support to us. And again, when you need it, we teach you how to use it. And you can use them either in little capsules. You can buy these empty capsules from health stores or Dischem, or you can even just put it in a little piece of bread and roll it up and take it like that. And it works really well. And some we can just put directly in the water, but others are hot oils, and we struggle to, because they'd almost burn. We'll talk about that as we go. Ruth says you must speak a bit louder.
For me? Oh,
yes.
I thought I was shouting.
So when putting some oils in a capsule to swallow, do we need to add fractionated oil? I do. I find my skin is quite sensitive, so I usually dilute my oils with a bit of coconut oil. If I don't, I start to get a little bit of sensitivity. And so with my capsules, I always add a little bit of carrier oil. I just think it just helps also with the absorption. We know the carrier oil helps the body to absorb better. So I always put either olive oil or fractionated coconut oil, or sometimes also if I'm having oils in water, sometimes I add a little bit of Himalayan salt. Not all the time, but in a capsule, I do add a little bit of carrier oil, or I pre-mix them with carrier oil in a bottle, and then I just use my dropper to make up my oils. Okay, so just to show you, we really do look at supporting you. These are just, or do you want to talk through this?
No.
Yeah, this is just a cheat sheet from one of the classes. We did an immune support class. So it shows you different ideas for throat sprays, ear support, the flute, how to do that, different things, seasonal support, which is more like allergic, sinusitis, rhinitis, seasonal change stuff. So we've got all these wonderful resources, and so you're never on your own, and you can also just ask questions on any, we have groups that you can ask questions, and we'll talk about our resources shortly. So just to get going on the oils, lemon is an oil that I could not live without. I used to start my day with squeezing lemon into warm water anyway. It's a very widely accepted health practice to do this because lemon is acidic, but when we metabolize it, it becomes very alkaline. So it helps to alkalize our body. Most of our chronic health issues come because our bodies are too acidic from too much coffee, red wine, or wine, sugar, carbohydrates. All of those acidify our bodies, and chronic disease breeds in an acid environment. So when we have warm water, lemon and warm water to start our day, it helps to detox our body, helps to alkalize our body. Lemon is a great drawer. It draws dirt, it draws things out. My dad used to clean our braai grid with a lemon. I often put a slice of lemon into our dishwasher. And since now having the oils, we just use lemon for our cleaning. So we have lemon with vinegar and a water spray, and it helps to clean all sorts of sticky surfaces. I use it to clean our chopping boards. I use it to clean our fruit and vegetables to get all that waxy film off, and to get any preservatives or pesticides that are sitting on the fruit. So lemon is very cleansing, very cleaning, draws. We don't keep it in plastic, in a plastic bottle, because it draws so strongly, it would draw the plastics. So when we have it in our water, we have it in a glass filled up with water, or in a mug, or a stainless steel water bottle, or a glass water bottle. It's also very uplifting. The citrus oils are all very uplifting for mood. Wild orange and lemon are very good for low feelings, even wild orange, particularly for depression, just to support feelings of upliftment. And it's very good for stress reduction. Therefore, it's one of the combinations that we use for sort of seasonal change. We'll talk about that in a second. And it's a very, very strong antioxidant. So that's why we love lemon. And then peppermint. Peppermint's everything like uplifting and soothing. So it's very good for energy, uplifting energy. It's great for that afternoon slump. It's great for clearing the sinuses. It's great for digestion. I don't know if any of you have peppermint tea after a big meal. We still sometimes do collect the mint in our garden, put a handful in water and put hot water over it. And often now we'll just put a drop of peppermint in water and then add the hot water, and that's really good as a digestive. It makes you not feel nearly as full and bloated after a meal. It's very good for headaches. It's very good for cooling, for those hot flushes or those times when our body feels a bit feverish without suppressing the temperature. It's really just cooling. So when we have peppermint, lemon, and Ellen will talk shortly about lavender together, this is our antihistamine blend. We can put a drop of these each in water and take them. It's very good for opening up the sinuses, helping with any histamine response. It's very good in a roller, or even using topically on the sinuses and back of the neck in those seasonal times when our allergies are high. So that's just to tell you a bit about those.
And a very good mood lifter.
Yes,
that combination as well.
And headaches.
That's one that I always have in my handbag as a roller. That's my headache, sinus, mood lifter, focus, everything.
Long drives.
Yeah, it just uplifts beautifully.
In fact, we actually, so when I just come back from Utah, we went, our little boy had a cricket tour to Clifton, Nottingham Road, and everyone's like, Nikki, why did you go to Utah? And, that was all very unexpected. I said, no, for these oils. And they said, oh, let's have a try. And so I gave everyone a drop of peppermint. And the men most especially just adored it. They just kept coming back asking for more. We've got photos of our 5 men standing on the side of the field, all smelling into their hands. They all look like they're praying. And then the next day, when they're all feeling a little bit jaded after the excitement of the night before, they were all sniffing their peppermint, trying to feel better and uplift mood and for headaches and things. So when we got back to Joburg, they all got kits just because they wanted the peppermint.
All right. So yes, I'm going to start with the lavender, even if it's on the wrong side of it. We should be reading left to right. But as we've just discussed lavender, and I did talk about the lavender that my dogs love it so much in the diffuser. It is calming. It's for stress reduction. It's for seasonal stress. Sorry, I put seasonal stress. Yes, focus and concentration, healthy blood pressure, head and body tension, emotional support and sleep. It's also great if you've got it, if you bump yourself and you've got a bruise or a bump or a lump, just put some lavender on it. Or a burn. Neat lavender. Don't use it if it's got oil in it, because everybody knows that you shouldn't put oils on a burn, but lavender essential oils can go directly on a burn. It instantly cuts the pain of a burn. Very good for mosquito bites, very good for everything. If in doubt, use some lavender. And the interesting thing with lavender as well, the number of people that say, oh no, they hate lavender. Every time they use the lavender, it actually gives them a headache. But the doTERRA one doesn't, because of the purity of it. So you can actually enjoy it and not suffer the consequences of having
because lavender is one of the most adulterated and doctored and synthetically added and taken away in most part of the perfume industry.
And then tea tree. I asked especially to talk about tea tree because it is one of those that, oh, don't use tea tree on your animals. It's so bad for them. But all of the healing qualities of tea tree that we know and love, that are absolutely fantastic, so varied, so fantastic, are also useful for animals, but very, very, very diluted. As soon as they get too much of it, then they can get melaleuca or tea tree toxicity. So you do need to be careful with animals. But you can definitely, it's not like, oh, I can't use tea tree on myself because I've got animals around me, that kind of thinking. So it's lovely. And it's for skin support for years and years, even before doTERRA. Tea tree was my husband's favorite oil to do if anything went wrong, if mosquito bite or any owies, you immediately came up and asked for the tea tree. Supports the immune system. It's very cleansing. It clears your breathing. It's a natural deodorant. It purifies. You can put in your laundry. You can put in with your lemon if you're going to clean with a natural cleanser. It's cooling. It's soothing. And for me as well, there's such an emotional connection with tea tree as well. All of the oils do have an emotional connection. We'll talk about that a bit more. But tea tree on a roller, if you're feeling stuck and blocked and unhappy, put some around your belly button, and it actually helps the emotions release in your body. It's a beautiful, beautiful oil.
And it's such a strong antiviral, and an antiviral stopping something that shouldn't be in your body coming into your body. And so energetically, it's also your boundaries. It's such a strong, great one for boundaries. So when we're all feeling the need for boundaries these days, and having a bit of tea tree around your tummy is exactly wonderful for that. I'll just move this chat so we can see here. Yeah. And I was listening the other day and heard how much tea tree was used in the Second World War for wounds, for the soldiers' wounds, for just all the infections that came. Brilliant for athlete's foot, brilliant for cold sores, like dabbing it on mouth sores, mouth ulcers, all that sort of thing.
Ruth, I've got a chart of dilutions for animals. If you can just let me know, and I'll send it on to you. It's quite a handy chart to have. And if anybody wants the safety with animals thing, I will link you through to Dr. Janet Rock. She's got a free thing that you can download with everything that you need to know about safety for animals. So that what I was talking about now was just the basic use in the home, that it would be useful for cleaning it. But if you think, well, I can't use it for clean because I've got animals, then yes, you can.
Yeah.
Again, maybe leave the door open. So if it is too strong for them, that they can leave. But yeah.
And so Ruth said, how would you use it if the cat has an infected wound?
I would, as far as I know, cats maybe wouldn't use tea tree on it. Cats have got their whole list of things.
So maybe do like a skin spray, a very diluted, like we talk about the skin spray, but maybe use lavender and lemon as your antivirals.
Yeah, even just lavender, I think, because the cats normally like lavender. So yeah.
But we can chat a little bit about that. Ellen would be happy for you to chat a bit afterwards. So then oregano. Oregano is our potent powerhouse. I mean, I love smelling it, but it is so strong. It's that real hot oregano, pizza, all things Italy smell. All the Europeans, the Italians, the Greeks, they all love this. And it's such powerful immune support, great for body aches and tension. Actually, when you use it with like our deep blue, which is our pain and inflammation, it's amazing for aches and tension. It's also brilliant with breathe for the opening up the chest. Very good for respiratory support. Very good for urine tract infections. We make a little capsule with frankincense, oregano, and on guard for urine tract infections, which works like a bomb. And it's good for skin issues, warts, skin tags. It's amazing. It's just literally consistent application, diluted, definitely diluted. You always dilute oregano.
Very hot oil.
That consistent applications for warts, skin tags over 2 weeks, 3 weeks is amazing. I mean, my mum had something on her ear and it literally just dropped off within 10 days. So I love it and use it. And in these times, I've been using it double dose in rollers and giving to people to support themselves. And it's amazing. And then frankincense. Frankincense is the king of oils. It's all things grounding. The frankincense trees grow on the most remote, most kind of desert-like areas on along the hillsides in Somaliland, Oman. Very, very isolated. The trees have to be bled. They're cut and they're bled, and that's where you harvest the frankincense from. And it can only be cut and bled when they're a certain age. They can only be cut a certain amount of times. They have to be sustainably done. So this is why when you buy frankincense for 200 Rand in Dis-Chem, you can't possibly think it's pure frankincense that has been harvested properly and sustainably and from the highest therapeutic value. It just, I mean, we can't grow frankincense trees here in South Africa. So we really support the farmers. This is their livelihoods. They live 12 to 24 hours away from any civilization, which is why we've doTERRA's, and because we're all part of doTERRA, have helped to build them a hospital and a clinic to support their families, and why they don't have sufficient negotiating rights with middlemen, because they don't sell on. They have no idea of the value of their product and how to really negotiate for this. But I use a drop of frankincense under my tongue for calming and grounding. So sometimes before I go to sleep, if I feel like I need to settle and sleep better, I'll use it on the top of my palate if I'm feeling headachy, or if I feel like I need some emotional support. It's very good for aches and pains, so it's very good for supporting migraines, very good for supporting topically. When we mix it with any oil, it enhances the use of that oil. So when we mix it with Breathe, it helps open up the chest. When we mix it with Deep Blue, it helps with inflammation. So it's just general and brilliant for skin, for wrinkles, because of the cellular restoration. I mean, there are so many articles on PubMed and The Truth About Cancer about people supporting themselves in their cancer journeys. And because it's got such powerful antioxidant properties and it's such anti-cancer, anti-tumor properties, we used it for my father-in-law when he was really ill with cancer. And I mean, he was so vital and so vibrant. Even just in the last week of his life, it was amazing. So everything has its own. Did you want to say anything about
frankincense?
Yeah.
Yes. So Dr. Janet Rourke, as well, in our teaching, she was telling us that she had recommended the frankincense to one of her patients. And when they used unbeknownst to her, she decided that she would rather get the cheaper frankincense. And this dog became so ill that she brought it in and said, the frankincense is bad for my dog. And that she actually had it tested, and it was completely adulterated with high levels of tea tree. So the dog was actually having tea tree toxicity. So you don't know, and it might still be a pure essential oil, but it definitely wasn't pure frankincense. Yeah. So that was quite a powerful story from her.
Because sometimes we think, oh, it's for our pets and things, I'm not going to spend, it's just going to get the cheap.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sophia, you asked about how many drops dilute oregano for. It just depends what you are dealing with, and this is where, as wellness advocates, whoever's invited you to the class would be the person to help to guide you through it. So I mean, we sometimes, so for like a skin tag and wart, we'd use a little bottle like this and probably put 2 drops of oregano, only 2, and maybe 1 drops of tea tree, and we fill it up with coconut oil.
Maybe a drop of frankincense.
Maybe a drop of frankincense, and that we would dab on, like keep it next to your toothbrush, and then dab that on so twice a day. And so that we would do. Or if I've got a roller and I'm doing like an immune bomb that I'm doing for these COVID times, I would do 10 drops of oregano in here and top it up. Or if I'm taking internally, I might just do a drop of oregano, where we do 2 drops oregano, 2 drops on guard, 2 drops frankincense with a little bit of carrier oil in a capsule to take internally. So we really guide you through it, because there's no quick answer. And no, not all oils are edible, because certain things are not edible. So, and we'll talk about this as we move on to our combination oils. So no, but the ones that are, so the ones that we've just talked about, those are all things we can eat, and those are all edible. But some of the blends aren't edible, and some of the pure oils aren't edible. And so we also tell you where to look for this list and how to know which is edible and which isn't.
Sophia, do you have a specific one that you want to ask about, or are you just asking generally?
Yeah, you can type that and let us know. So yeah, you're going to talk about Breathe and ingest.
Breathe. Oh my goodness. Breathe is one of those oils that are just so needed at the moment for respiratory support. And again, you can just put a drop on your hand and bring it as close to your nose. In the beginning, it is quite strong, but it's really, really amazing for support for the respiratory system. And combine that with your breathing exercises. Both Nikki and I are breathwork practitioners. The more you can, I'm babbling now. So for me, one of my favorite ways of using Breathe is for sinuses and for allergies. So if you do then breathe it in, you don't want at that point to have it all in your lungs. You want it to get into your sinus area. So then short little breaths in rather than deep breaths, taking it all the way into your lungs where the problem isn't. Obviously, if you're looking at lung problems, then you would breathe it in deeply as much as you can. I think the biggest thing though with breath is that we need to learn to slow down our breathing. And I think when you're working with a product like Breathe, you just automatically take a deep breath and slow down and calm.
Makes it much more conscious.
A very conscious breathing. Thanks, Nikki. Yes. And that then relaxes the body and the mind, and by doubling up your breathing. So if you breathe in twice and then just slowly out through your mouth with like a little straw, like that, then it actually just calms you instantly. It's good for sleeping. I often put it in my diffuser at night time. Seasonal
Snoring.
Snoring, yeah, under the feet.
Yeah, so it helps one partner sleep better when the other partner snores less. So it's good for relationships too.
Yeah. It's good for concentration, because as soon as you take a deep breath in, then it also does help you concentrate, and it's very uplifting. It's got a very clean, beautiful scent and works lovely, as I say, in the diffuser.
And so you can have breathe in your diffuser next to your bed, even if your animals sleep on your bed, as long as your doors are open, and they can go in and out if they need to. And they get the benefits, because often animals can be a bit snuffy. They can be a little bit
snoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. And then for Zengest, Zengest is amazing. Also, as we spoke earlier about, for car sickness, for dogs and for children and for people, for any upset tummy, it is one of those that you can take internally. You can put a drop into a bottle.
Yes, breathe. You don't take
breathe.
Internally.
No, please don't breathe. Take that internally. But you can take it in water. You can rub it around your belly button. You can put it under your feet. You can. Where else? Oh.
Well, for our little shadow, we put it on his ears,
yes,
like,
and
under his feet. Yeah, so that helps.
About 20 minutes before you leave, then just use some lavender and breathe. And by the time he gets in the car, he's quite chilled about that.
Actually, I must do a bit more proactive stuff, because I would just wait for him to feel sick, which is not great. So I've got a roll of Zengest that I keep with me all the time. And when kids, when they were still going to school, if someone had a bit of a sore tummy, we know sometimes there was anxiety about the speech ahead, or that they really had a sore tummy. I'd just get them to lift their shirts and put it on their tummy and into their belly button. And then I'd give it to them and say, here, take it with you. If you need it, go to the bathroom, use it again. If you still have a sore tummy, call me. I don't think they ever did. But they're at least left with something that was empowering, that helped them. And it helps for anxiety too, because it helps with that churning feeling in your tummy.
You still got the butterflies, but they're flying in formation.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing is, because it releases mucus, it's really good for if you have got blocked sinuses, to just roll around underneath the eye, and not too close to the eye, and above on your forehead and on your temples. And it's amazing how easily it does open up your sinuses as well. There's a lovely breathing exercise as well to help if you've got blocked nose, but I don't know if we've got time for that. Maybe leave that for later.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that at the end.
Very interesting.
If anyone wants to know.
That beautiful product.
Yeah, so it's great for many uses. And then Deep Blue, as a physio, one of my favorite oils is Deep Blue. Excuse us. It's got wintergreen and camphor, and it just smells like a physio room. It's lovely. It's incredible for resolving bruises, sprained ankles, inflammation. This is what sold me on oils, because as a physio, I'd never seen healing as quickly as with using Deep Blue. I mean, I've had little boys arrive hobbling here, and their mum saying, I think we might have to go for x-rays. I'm not sure if they're okay. And then I've used Deep Blue 2 or 3 times, and almost neat. Deep Blue is one we actually use quite often neat. And by the end of it, they're jumping on the trampoline, and their mums are like, oh my word, I don't know. I thought that they had a serious injury. So I'm not advocating that they jump on the trampoline, but sometimes you just come outside and you're like, I thought you had a sore ankle. Anyway, it's amazing. And someone contacted me this week. She's had such a sore back. She's had such issues. She's been trying different things. She's gone for physio twice. She said, in desperation, I just actually put Deep Blue Neat on it. And she said that I woke up this next day and I was so much better. I can't believe it. So it's great for, cooling, stimulating muscle and joint health, for headaches, migraines. I often rub it here with headaches at the front of my neck. This is where we store a lot of our emotions. So even though this doesn't feel tight, it can contribute a lot to headaches. I use it there. Post-workout, concentration, tension.
Use with caution with animals because of the wintergreen.
And we don't take this internally also because of the wintergreen. So and then finally, On Guard, probably the most used oil in the last 18 months. And they're all my favorites, so I should stop saying it's my favorite. But it smells of all things Christmas, all things clove, cinnamon, orange. Spicy. Yeah, spicy, that really spicy, lovely smell. It's called our protective blend. So it's very good for immune support because it's got strong antiviral, antibacterial oils. And if you think about that's forming your boundary, your protection with the world. So it's also good emotionally for boundaries. But it's also got immune support. And so we use it in a roller bottle to just help to boost the immune system. If anyone sneezes or coughs, first sign of anyone, I make them put on their On Guard. I don't use any of the alcohol-based sanitizers. I've had huge experience with my skin, which is very sensitive to any preservatives and fragrances and synthetic things, and I get terrible eczema. And so I believe our skins, well, from my research and from what I've experienced, our skins are our biggest boundaries and our biggest organs, and they really don't do well with having synthetic stuff on them. And so I use a spray bottle with On Guard and a little bit of coconut oil and mostly water. That's what we use as our sanitizers. Our children all take that to school. I use that when I go to the shops. I can also use it to spray in my mouth if I've got a bit of a sore throat and I've been talking a lot or been out and about, and it's immune supportive as well. I also use it for cleaning chopping boards or fruit and vegetables. It's for boosting our immune systems. We sometimes diffuse it if we're not feeling great. And it's a lovely, warm, comforting kind of fragrance. It's very good for oral health, for cold sores, for sores in the mouth, for sore throats. We put a drop in raw honey. It's quite strong. I wouldn't do that for kids, but it's very good for giving you a big boost of immune support.
My husband, who's really strong, he actually puts it neat in his mouth every single morning before he leaves the house.
I remember someone actually told me, she said, it's amazing. If you start to feel sick, you just take a drop of On Guard under your tongue and you're fine. And I tried it and I was like, whoa, she's stronger than me. But you can do it like that. And so that's why we also use our intuition. This is little Anna, the guide dog pup, telling us. So,
excuse me, talking about sinuses and postnasal drips and coughs. I have been using a lot. It is better than it was, but we'll see how it goes. So, the top 10 oils. Can I talk a little bit about why the top 10 is the top 10?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So the chemistry behind the oils, which is very, very well researched, there is in the top 10, there is at least one of all of the known chemical makeup of the oils that are of benefits. So there's a lot of oils that have similar benefits, but the top 10 actually has something for everything. It does support the physical. We've spoken about that at length, so I'm not going to go through that, but this is a lovely slide to just remind you what it's all about. But I want to talk a few minutes about the emotions. So one of my favorite books is Deb Shapiro's book about Your Body Speaks Your Mind. And I just want to
mine too.
Yeah, divine. She starts off by saying, and a lot of people say, well, the emotions, how can the emotions make me sick? But it is blocked energy. And she says, right at the beginning, she says, I want to make something very clear. Illness is real. Accidents happen. Medicine can help. I'm not writing this book in order to convince you that the sole reason for your illness is in your mind and you must have done something wrong or to blame for being ill. And I'm not saying that simply by understanding how the mind and body work together, you'll be able to miraculously cure yourself of whatever ails you. But it is something that we need to be aware of, and how when we do get a fright for something, the first thing we do is go and tense up. And where that tension hits in the body is often where we do get ill. She also talks about that we're chemical soup, the makeup of us. Which says the truth is you're a little more than a chemistry set. All of your thoughts and feelings get translated into chemicals that fire off throughout your body, altering the chemical composition and behavior of your cells. Hence, a sad feeling will influence the cells of your tear ducts and make them produce tears, or a scary feeling will give you goosebumps or make your hair stand on end. So the energy of the oils, what's the word I'm looking for?
Properties.
The properties that it's not the word I'm looking for. It's about that Black Rose is the highest on the frequency. The frequency of the oils. Each of them has got particular connections to emotions. And when you realize how much emotions can affect us, when you understand that, and because of that, then we do get physical unease, dis-ease. So each of the oils that we've given you here, there's buoyant heart, there's humility and non-attachment, there's energetic boundaries, there's oil of focus, the lemon, the oil of communication and calm, oil of truth, oil of digestion, oil of breath, oil of protection, oil of surrendering pain. All of these are with this beautiful mind-body beings that we are, that we can actually use these oils to support in nearly everything, both emotional and physical, because of this. So is there anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's beautiful. And I think that's where, we're not just using peppermint in place of panado. This is why they bundle together in a kit, because there's so many uses for them, and because they work synergistically, and we often need more than just one thing to swap out. So this is the beauty of the oils and empowering ourselves on this journey. So we've talked about quite a lot of our favorites. We take you through this, how to make a throat spray. A calm roller is great for anxiety, for sleep, there's sleep roller. We take you through all this once you get your oils. We also gift you with a little ready to roll kit, which has got rollers and coconut oil and various things to get you going. We've got a wonderful tool in our team called the Yum Drops Hub, which has got all these topics like nutri oils, get to know your oils, ongoing education and cheat sheets. There's 2 classes on animals and pets already in there, and there will be more as Ellen gets going.
With a lot of good information on there. Yeah. Also working with Dr. Janet Rock's teaching. So she's amazing.
So there's and you can search. You use the search bar as well, just to search whatever you're looking for. So you're not on this journey at all. And
alone.
So alone. You're on the journey totally, but not alone at all. So how do we actually get the kits into our families and into our life? Many of you already have oils and are wanting to have a deeper dive. For those who don't, they come in a number of different kits. The first is this Home Essential Starter Kit. It has all these bigger bottles. They're 15 ml bottles, which have got 250 drops in them. And just the deep blue always comes small. And so you get the top 10 oils, and you get a diffuser, which is worth 700 Rand, and all the support that our team offers. It's 4,495 Rand for that kit. And if you had to add up the cost of the oils individually, it would be another 2,728 more. So they really are bundled together. Sometimes people say, well, I only want 3 or 4 oils. And actually, when we start to add it up, 3 or 4 oils actually comes to a similar price. So
especially if you've got frankincense.
Yeah, especially with frankincense. Then the Family's Essentials Starter Kit. That's for a smaller family, a couple, maybe someone on their own, just getting going. They've all the smaller oils. They're the 5 ml bottles. So they've got 85 drops in them. They won't last as long. All oils will last almost indefinitely, as long as they're kept out of sun and out of heat and the lid's kept closed. But the obviously the smaller oils have less drops in them. So something like lemon, one gets used up very, very quickly and breathe in these days. It also comes with an oil called Smart and Sassy, which is great for metabolism. It's great for sugar cravings. It's great for helping with weight management and different things like that. It's the oil of self-love. And so it's very good for the parts of us that we don't always love so much. So that's 2,940. It doesn't have the diffuser. So if you added 2,940 plus 700 Rand of the diffuser, you'd see that the Home Essentials kit is only 800 Rand more, but you get 3 times the amount of oils. So if you've got a family, this is definitely the one you'd want to start with. But this is a Family Essential Starter Kit, the smaller kit. It's also a good start. Then we've got other ones at the moment. There's a Seasonal Relief Kit. It's just a new one that's just been launched. It's lovely in these times. It's got Cheer, which is a very uplifting blend. So it's good for emotional support. It's got a lot of the citrus oils, but it's also very good for like arthritic joints and various things. We've actually just done a class on it because it's such a unique and interesting kit. It's got things like these little On Guard beadlets, which you can take internally, and kids can take. They're tiny. They're like a quarter drop of On Guard. Purify, which is so good for lymph drainage and for purifying the air, purifying our bodies. We don't take it internally, but it's a brilliant one to use topically.
Dog smells.
Yeah, great for purifying home smells. It's also got a little On Guard. It's got a little wild orange, which, as I mentioned, is very uplifting. And it comes with a free lemon, free lavender, and nioli, which is the oil of restoration and regeneration. It's actually such a rare oil that we can't buy it. It's occasionally gifted with a pack. It's gifted this time because we're already needing regeneration and restoration after these times, and in these times, whether we've had COVID or not, but especially like us when we've had COVID, it's great. Our chests really feel like they need renewing and restoring. So that's a great one to rub on your chest and on your throat.
It's the same botanical family as the Melaleuca, as the tea tree.
And then there's a kids kit starter collection, which has got wonderful pre-mixed oils. Adults can use them too. I use the Brave Rhoda frequently, or the Stronger, which has got it's got frankincense and rose, two of the most healing oils, the highest frequency oils, and are there in the kids kit under Stronger. And so I use that all the time. And they also come with a free lemon and lavender. So those are just to give you an idea. Oh, and there's a basic little beginner's kit, which is more for like sports and anyone with chronic inflammation and pain. It's got copaiba, which is a very good one for autoimmune stuff and inflammatory stuff in one's body. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but if you want to ask any specific questions about that, please do.
We're going over time.
Yeah, we've already gone over time. So I'm going to stop sharing and look at some of the questions. So let's just see here. My husband complained yesterday that I don't wear my perfume anymore, but I'm just so happy with all my wonderful oil smells. I'm the same. My perfume is gathering dust. I think that it smells amazing. No more perfumes or deodorants. And when we put on these oils, that we get the emotional benefits as well. So it's for us, not just for other people as well. Pleasure, Kashifa.
Mind you, my favorite perfume that I've made up as a roller is Whisper and
that's a woman's blend.
The woman's blend together with the hippie one, which is the hippie one.
Patchouli.
Patchouli. Yeah. So that's it. The inner hippie in me comes out when I wear that one.
Marie says you'll become emotionally attached to the perfume of the new oils. Drench yourself. So Kashifa, where the emotions are stored, and it's good for massaging around the belly button for restoring. So our emotions are all stored in different parts for different people. You know, some, like if you're having a stressful time, it goes straight to a migraine. Some it will go to tight muscles. Some it will go to your gut. Yeah. So we all have our different tendencies. So that's where that sort of book is so useful. And Louise Hay has got one that says, that's called also You Can Heal Your Body. And so we massage it wherever we feel it. And that's why the emotional properties, and we don't actually have to know that much about the oils. We know we've just got a sore tummy, and it might be about having a sore tummy, or it might just be because of anxiety, and putting Zengest on is going to help both. So so massaging around belly button is so good for everything, because the belly button is our first way that we receive nutrients from when we're in our mother's womb. So it's a highly perfused area. It's our point zero, it's our energy center, and so it's a great place to put anything into our bodies, anything if we want to calm down, if we want to feed our bodies for restoration. The belly button's like your portal. I actually was telling Ellen that I used to have a belly button ring, and then when I started learning about acupuncture, the Chinese are horrified. Like the forbidden point, the most forbidden point in acupuncture is your belly button, because if you put in a needle into that area, it drains your energy. So once I learned that, I took out my belly ring, and I'm actually using Immortelle, which is our scar and wound blend, to try and heal that up. I mean, this was 20 years ago, but I still have a scar there, and it's very energetically draining. So when we put stuff into that point, it helps to feed us. I recently purchased Holiday Peace and Holiday Joy BOGO. I love it. I do too, and it's actually, I've only realized, in fact, I left them at our holiday place, because that's where we are on holiday, and I diffuse it a lot and I love it. But I didn't realize all the furs that are in it. And I mean, I obviously did, but didn't realize the therapeutic value. And now, as all this information is coming out about the protein spikes of the virus, it's a very supportive one to use even topically on yourself. All the fur oils are incredibly supportive. They're very high antioxidant. They're very immune protective as well. And so
I didn't know.
so Holiday Joy has become my new favorite, and Holiday Peace, because they're so high in the fur oils. Anyway, so any other questions?
The difference between On Guard and Holiday Joy.
Oh, On Guard and Holiday Joy. So I think I actually don't have the ingredients of Holiday Joy with me. I'll have a look at the end. I'll it's got far more of the fur oils, and so they can be used interchangeably, which is amazing. And they're quite similar, and almost at this time I would use more Holiday Joy than On Guard with the
Not internally.
no, definitely not internally. But because it's also got the vanilla, not because you can actually have the pine, like Siberian fir and things internally, some of them, but not. But I think we're getting going over here, so getting technical. So Kashifa, we can stay on and chat to you afterwards if you'd like to know more. Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you all for your time, and I hope this has been interesting. And if you want to ask any questions, please unmute yourself, or yeah, thanks, Janet.
Type in my telephone number and email address for anybody who does want to contact me.
Okay, so here's Ellen's email address. I'm going to put here. So darrent@amweb.co.za. Yeah. Okay, so it shouldn't be a capital, but it's just so that's her email address and phone number.
083 982 2716.
And
if you've got any specific questions, if I don't know, I have the resources, I can find out and get back to you on it.
Yeah. So any other questions?
You can unmute and even talk to us.
Yeah, yeah, you please unmute
and talk to us.
Thank you very much. It was really a great session, and I'm definitely interested to start the healing for the family. Yeah, so I don't know how the best way is to contact you privately.
Who invited you to the class? Who told you about the class? Yeah,
it was Natasha, the honey lady.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yeah. So I'll follow up with you. I'll
great.
Give you my details, and so do you want to just type your, or I can ask Natasha for your contact details, or otherwise if you just type them in the chat, then I can follow up with you.
Yes, I can do that. No problem.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And I've wondered, what are you sewing there? Are you sewing something?
Yes, I'm sewing and doing the homeschooling at the same time. It's crazy. Just today.
I saw having support of the homeschooling, the hug in between.
They have a break now. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I mean, yeah. I hope it's over soon.
All of us too. Yeah. Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Tertia. Okay, yes. So it's not Ellen Durrant. It's just durrant@mweb.co.za. So Ellen's. Yeah,
that's me.
Thank you all, and so Sophia, I'll take down your details. And so just to answer, because Rama actually sent me the ingredients for the holiday joy, is Siberian fir, which is incredibly powerful at this time. Wild orange, uplifting, clove bud, which is good for immune support, cinnamon bark, those are all in On Guard. Cassia, and then we've got Douglas fir, so it's got more fir oils, nutmeg, so it's all immune supportive. It's the same as On Guard, but with the extra furs. But it does have vanilla absolute, and vanilla absolute, just because of how it's sourced, it's with ethyl alcohol or something, and you don't take that internally. So this is a good one to lather on, use instead of On Guard in these times. But just if you're taking internally, then you'd use On Guard. So thank you all. I'll take that down, Sophia, and I'll be in touch with you just shortly after this. And if anyone else wants to be in touch, if whoever's invited you to the class, Adria, I'll also be in touch with you. Zarita, I think, as well. And anyone else, please just contact the person who invited you to the class. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Before I end the meeting, I'm just taking down some details. So you're welcome to go off or stay and ask another question if you want to.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you all. I'm so pleased you came. I hope you've got your mind at ease that you can use oils on your animals, and certainly for specific things I can do a one-on-one with you.
And that's part of what we do. We make sure that when you get your oils, we sit with you and go through how you actually use them, what things are coming up for you and your family, more specific stuff. So we're here through the whole thing. And if anyone wants a recording of the class, Janet, I'm not sure whether Julia was able to listen or not. I can also send that to you. So just contact me. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ellen. It was a great class.
Thanks, Ruth. Bye
I
then.
just wanted to ask you something. When I'm applying my oils at night to my knees, my cat won't come near the bathroom. Doesn't matter what I'm using.
Well, then
And
she's telling you emphatically that she doesn't like those, and that's a
Yeah.
part of the pet selection. So if
Yeah.
she's on knees, don't put it on her. She might object. That's-
yeah, and
that-
so she won't come near me, you know, if I put my hand out to her and I've used any oils, and it's been with everything. She just, you know, she'll sometimes go into the garden,
It's
and
no,
that's
it's-
very
it's
clear.
like-
She's going, I really don't like that.
No, it'll be too strong for her as well. Cats are very, very sensitive to smell, and you now smell funny,
But
or
Yeah.
different.
conversely, my cousin said to me, she said, you know, I'd been on the beach, and she said, I just put on some oils before, and I hadn't been there on the beach, but our dog was there with our little pup. Shadow was there with our kids, and she said it was so sweet because Shadow just came and he lay right on top of me, and she said, I think it was because he could smell the oils, and he just was so comforted because he almost felt it was you because of the smell of the oils. So she said he couldn't leave my side. He was right with me. She says he's never been like that with me. He's always ignored me. but he's
Amazing.
right. So yeah, it was interesting.
Well, and also Ruth Monica on the call when we were doing her dog Ash. Some of the oils in the beginning was suspicious because she has had quite a lot of treatments. But when Monica and her husband put some of the oils, especially the copaiba, on their hands with some oil, this dog nearly licked their skin off their
Interesting.
hands.
Really?
Yeah, it was, oh, this is delicious. So it depends on which oil and what the dog needs and what the animal needs.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
Kirsha yesterday at Feminine Wisdom sitting, and Shadow went and sat right on her lap, and she was sitting right long ways.
Yes.
Afterwards, she came and she said, you know, I did a little bit of Reiki on Shadow while he was on my lap. I was like, really? And she said, and you just need to give him some olive oil or coconut oil and just a drop of, but highly diluted, a drop of copaiba, and rub it on his hind legs and his lower back, because she says he's quite tight there, and maybe a drop in his food because he just needs a little bit of grounding and calming. I was like, really, Teresa? Okay, well, it's worth a
Oh, I
try.
love it.
But he was lying there.
Absolutely
So
love
calm.
it.
I was quite astounded to see how he was just lying there on her, perfectly balanced down her
Yeah, he
leg.
was mad about her. I could see that. He wouldn't leave her alone.
I know, exactly.
But I love the collaboration that happens between this tribe of women.
Yeah. Well, that's part of what we love as well.
The other thing about animals as well, I went on a course, just a day talk a few weeks ago about kinesiology for animals. And she is absolutely passionate about, you know, helping with the emotions of using kinesiology on animals. And it was very interesting. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that kids are adaptable. They'll be fine. And I think sometimes animals as well, we think, no, they're adaptable, they'll be fine. And just because they don't complain as much as others, they still need the TLC as well. So,
Well, you
so
know,
anything
with wildlife, and obviously it applies to domestic animals as well, but I've worked a lot with wildlife.
I didn't know.
The quieter they get, the more injured they are. They go into a state of they go inwards.
Yeah.
And so if you watch your domestic animals as well, they do exactly the same thing. They do that to get away from the pain.
Yeah, but like babies in orphanages, they say that they cry the least, or because they've
Exactly.
they realize that there's nothing. Anyway, on that happy note.
And cats as
Thank
well.
you.
People that often say, no, the cat's fine, the cat's purring. But in fact, purring can be related. You know, a lot of older people get that very throaty way of breathing. And it works in the same way in our nervous system, that like that kind of feeling and that purring that cats do actually lower your blood pressure. So purring of a cat, if a cat purrs, is sometimes a sign of stress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. So
Very
a cat at the vet, it's purring, is not a happy cat.
They're just trying to regulate their blood pressure or their anxiety.
Not necessarily a happy cat.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for your time.
Thank
and
you
all-
very much.
It was
Take care.
lovely. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.